Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. Welcome back, my guy, Wakanda's Forever's own. You seen him in Avengers as the Black Panther, Dimitri. How you doing, man?
Back at y'all with another one. What's up?
Yeah. I want to give a special shout out to a sponsor of this podcast, which is nobody, because I'm broke, poor, and not famous. So I just want to put that out there. No. No, I'm glad to have you back, man. It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
So, this episode I wanted to talk about was it kind of inspired me when we was doing the video on your podcast. Go check it out. And my recent trip to New York, the difference between New York City and LA. I knew for me growing up, I don't know about you if you knew this, but like there's always been that rivalry between New York and LA. And I wanted to get into that because now that I've lived here, there's certain things I understand why, New Yorkers might hate LA, but another thing LA might hate about New Yorkers. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to lead this off with the acting stuff because we're both actors, obviously. One thing I've noticed about LA compared to New York is there's not a lot of opportunities for you to start here. For me coming here, I knew coming for me personally was I came prepared. I knew I would have to come my headshot, my reel together. And eventually when I moved here, I put everything, I fine-tuned everything. And that's how I landed my agent. But I have noticed if you're a startup actor, have not many credits, it's very hard to find a career here. Now, I know for you, how's your journey been actor-wise in New York?
I say it really, I think anybody's acting journey is really what you make it. I feel like in some cases, what you say is valid. I also think it's really what you do with where you're at. You know what I'm saying? And like how hard your grind is. And even if, let's say, you live in, West Bumblefuck, go to where, you can, like, go to the closest place you can to make opportunity. Even if it's just, doing small local theater, trying to find small independent film, just there's always something that you can do wherever you are. So I think for me, because I don't live in the city. I live in the suburbs of New York. So for me, it's kind of like my mindset is you could just always do something. There's always ways to stay active. So in my opinion, I haven't run into any like dry periods. I mean, obviously, the pandemic and everything like that, my whole, plotting of this year in terms of like my acting career kind of got sidetracked just because of that. But regardless of that, I think it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah, man, I'll be like, my journey in New York was way easier. Well, it was easier because I knew it was easier for me to find opportunities, especially when I graduated college in 2018. I could just hop on Backstage and find a play, a student film. But again, like you said, it depends on drive. I think the biggest problem is because LA is so spread out. It's a lot harder for new actors. And I've encountered new actors in LA. Some of them I worked with before the pandemic. But a lot of them move here and think it's going to be all glamorous. And it's not. What you see on TV about Hollywood is far from the truth. A lot of people struggling. A lot of people barely act because they're more worried about paying rent, obviously, because it ain't cheap to live here. But the opportunity is a lot harder to get to. Fortunately, because I came prepared, I was able to get an agent within like 2-3 months of moving here. So that was a blessing for me. But I know people who moved here, 5 years ago who's still struggling to find an agent and get those opportunities because, like in New York, you could probably just drive to Yonkers or to the Bronx, take the D train to Manhattan and walk to your gig. Here, while there's more pronounced schools and that do film and stuff, the problem is if you live in like, North Hollywood, for instance, you don't want to drive an hour and a half to Orange County to go film a free student film. So I think that's where the difference lies. But I don't want to get too much into that. The problem I have with LA is this whole, everybody feels like they're better than everybody. This culture of I got to flex on everybody. I got to look good. Everybody has this Hollywood attitude. And I'm not going to say everybody, But a lot of people that move here who aren't famous anything have this "I'm betting you" attitude. Who are you? I deserve this more than you kind of attitude. Whereas in New York, everybody's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? You don't see people. I know people who's been working in the business for years and who's made money doing this stuff, but you don't see them going around boasting how popular or how much money they made. You see them on the train with you. It's a different culture. So I wanted to get your opinion on that. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I've never been to LA, and I haven't really traveled much, honestly, like in my entire lifetime. So I can't say I've been exposed to, like the too many different cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like the subculture of in LA, the subculture of in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Florida. You know what I'm saying? Different places, Texas. Right. But I mean, I will say I'm somebody that, my environment changes to me. I don't change to my environment. So I feel like for me personally, and I'm not even the most extroverted guy where, let's say if I was in an LA, I don't think it would affect me that much because I think I would still maneuver through life the same way. Because honestly, I feel like people, like the way that you're describing people in LA, I feel like people are like that out here. It might not, it's not as, blatant as you probably might, see it out there, but I mean, it's still there.
Right.
Still smoking mirrors. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're definitely right. I mean, there obviously, especially when the summer come, you see everybody here wearing these fake $200 necklaces, trying to look like 2 Chainz and stuff like that. But what in LA, it's just I don't know why, man, but everybody, like, I'll go to the gym and you'll feel that negative energy, and it's just like why do people have to move like that, especially in certain parts of LA, like Hollywood, North Hollywood, where more creators and people in that kind of industry live? You always get the sense of entitlement that people have. And like, I know personally a few people who drive luxury sports cars because in LA you need a car. But I see people driving these luxury sports cars that cost way too much that they can afford. But, you'll see these people driving these cars and they feel like they're a big shot, but they got 5 jobs. They live in somebody's basement paying like $200 in rent and feel like, they're better than everybody else. And that's just, in my opinion, that's the thing that bothers me, is because life has been treating me well. You know what I'm saying? I may not be a Leonardo DiCaprio, but life has been treating me well. But I walk around, I wear my shades and stuff, but I don't walk around feeling like a prima donna. I feel like I have to put on this whole facade that LA is my town and nobody else belongs here. Everybody else is untalented. It's just like, I hate walking down the street and feeling like that. And then when I go to New York, I just blend right in. And the biggest thing for me was like, when I went to New York, I was taking the train all the time. I took the train. And like, when I take the train there, nobody feel judged. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember seeing SNL stars on the train, and like nobody cared. Everybody got their music on. Everybody trying to do what they got to do. Nobody cares about you.
Maybe people take trains all the time. Like that's where you usually see like a lot of people is either they're walking or they're on public transportation.
Right. You know what I'm saying? When I get out on 96th Street, I don't feel like I have to put my guard up. Obviously you have to because safety, but like in LA, when I first moved in, I was taking a train. I felt less than like, I felt like I had to stun on people on the train because I wanted people to know that like, I'm taking a train, but I got money and you don't. And I hate that attitude that like, I'm a humble guy. And I feel like when I take the train or maybe a bus, like I feel like a less human being, you know what I'm saying? So,
well, it's like, I can say where in the suburbs out here, you can't not have a car. Like, and I've been there where I've had to take the bus a couple of times, like to go to class or having to take really like the bus or like walking is probably like the worst of the worst. You take a cab, that's nothing, but there is that element to it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's not really about that. It's because, you're going from A to B, you're doing what you have to do. Clearly you're going somewhere. And then that in and itself should say something. You know what I'm saying? Versus like you really should only feel less than if you're a bum on the street and you're sitting there, not stationary, not going nowhere.
Yo, you want to actually hear a funny fact? So I was talking to a dude when I was working. This was like in like February. I was talking to a dude who lived, he was born in LA. And I asked him about the homeless population because it's crazy out here. It's more than I thought it was going to be. I think it's probably more than New York has. And he was telling me, and I didn't realize this when I first moved there because I see homeless people with TVs, cell phones, the latest, motorcycle. And he was like, yeah, man, keep it a buck. I would say about 40 to 50% of homeless people have jobs. They work. They just choose to live on the street. So that's why, like, when I go to like Echo Park, which is a neighborhood next to where I live, you'll go there and like in tents or on the street, you'll see people set up RVs. They got flat screen TVs. They got the latest iPhone.
Right.
But they live in a tent. I was like, word? Like, that's crazy to think about. Like, some of these people got money in their pocket, but just choose to sleep in the tent on the street.
Yeah. No, that's just true. I mean, I don't get the rationale behind that. I don't know if they're doing that to save money or what the reason for that is. But I mean, hey, what people get, they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I think the thing is, so there's always been like who's more expensive, New York, LA, and I'll be honest, New York is way more expensive. The trains are more expensive. Food is more expensive. I think LA. I mean, if you come from like North Dakota, you'll probably think like this is crazy expensive. But LA is not that expensive. I think if you live within your means, I think it's not bad. But I think for a lot of people, they'd much rather live on the street in a tent for free than pay, for a 1-bedroom apartment. You could easily run that up here. Like the cheapest I've seen was like $2,000 in LA County. So right. I think that could be the case because I know here, especially, a lot of people have roommates. I know people who live in like the nicest parts of LA, but they have like 8 people squeezed up in a 2-bedroom apartment. But and they still pay just as much as I do for my room and my 3-bedroom apartment. So right. that's the interesting part about LA. It's like everybody got roommates unless you live in like Beverly Hills or West Hollywood towards that area, Malibu. But like, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that always bothered me was just like people feel like they have to flex on everybody,
That's just, that to have to flex and stick your chest out, whatever, to me is like a sign of like insecurity. You know what I mean? Because you said it yourself where it's like you were on public transportation and then you felt like you had to flex and to show people that. You know what I'm saying? When in reality, you really shouldn't even care. Like I said, like I get that. But at the end of the day, like when I see people, doing certain things, to me, that is more so an indictment on them than whatever outcome they think they're getting out of flexing in the first place.
Right. Now, here's the biggest drawback of LA that I kind of hate is the nightlife here. Bro, ain't nothing. You've been in New York on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, right? Mm-hmm. Even during the week, Monday or Tuesday, to be able to go out anytime you want in New York and go get a beer, hang out with friends is so much better than LA. It just seems like everybody's flaky. The nightlife is terrible here. Like you have to either drive to the nearest town to, like for instance, I live in downtown by Dodger Stadium, and the nightlife down here is garbage. It's only like maybe 3 bars is pretty good. Right. And then, but for me, if I want to go experience, a better nightlife, if I want to go meet more women and stuff like that, I have to go to Hollywood, North Hollywood. That's where the places are. But unless you live there, you have to make the effort to drive there. And that's been my biggest downfall is like the fact that I have to drive or take an Uber somewhere to go party and spend more money is asinine to me. Whereas in New York, you can just be like, all right, y'all want to go hang out? Cool. I'll meet you on 34th Street in in 40 minutes. I'm going to hop on the A train. And bam, you could go to one bar. You could walk down the street to another bar, around the corner to another bar, and so. And like, you could just bar hop all night. Mm-hmm. And like, it just sucks, man. Not even just like the bars, just like the friendships. Like most of my friends, like you, are in New York, you know what I'm saying? Because out here, I feel like everybody is more attached to what you can bring to them than they are about the actual friendships.
Yeah, they fake.
Yeah, people are so fake here, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I know Joe Rogan he spoke about this briefly because he's moving to Texas after he signed the Spotify deal. One of the things he said was he hates how overcrowded LA is, and he hates that attitude and that flakiness that people have. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there's been numerous times where I'll meet people here who's like, yeah, man, can I jump on a podcast with you? And then, like, after one day of texting, they just never respond to you again. And it's like, yo, what? Like in New York, for the most part, not everybody's gonna be on that type of time, but for the most part, I know if I need somebody reliable, someone from New York is gonna be there for me. So I
Yeah.
always thought that was a negative drawback about LA. But what about you in New York? I know obviously we talked a few times, and some of your friends obviously not really interested in the industry, so it's sometimes hard for them to commit.
Yeah.
But
Well, we did a podcast talking about the business of friendship. You can check that out on my channel. And I mean, yeah, I think you know what it is. You just cannot get into the business of friendships with people. And to me, I'm so jaded about a lot of different things in life that I'm really don't waste time. To be honest with you, like I said, if I have something that I need to be done, somebody who I know for a fact doesn't do what I do or doesn't have any aspirations whatsoever, they don't come into my mind anymore. Like I said, it's really just if I have, a podcast idea or something like that, I hit you up, or, a photo shoot idea, I'll hit up my other boy up. That's basically it. And I honestly, I prefer it that way, because when you have to rely on like-minded individuals only, and those are the people that you're around most of the time, it helps you because you're the sum of the people that you associate with. So if you associate with 4 people that are on their shit, that do what you do, and they're headed somewhere positive, and you're doing the same, it's only going to boost you up. But you hang out with people that are fake, that are flaky, that don't do anything, why even waste time? Like, literally, why even waste time? My podcast originally was supposed to be 4 guys, including myself. The first 2 flaked. So then it became a 2-man idea, which, life circumstances eventually made it, 1 person. And then I frequently collaborate with you. So there's a benefit to people being like that, because it forces you to have to adjust and seek out people that are going to be useful to your cause, rather than wasting time trying to get people on board.
Right. Man, it's one of those things where, like, and we talked about this on your podcast, which is available on YouTube, about how people. Here's the problem I have: people might be interested in you. You know what I'm saying? They might be interested in being friends collabing, and then they'll go through with it. But then they find out who you know. Now all of a sudden they want to be your best friend. They want to go everywhere you go on. They want to invite you everywhere. And it's one of those things where I've encountered this a few times where, obviously everybody think I'm Lil Yachty. That's besides the point. But when people find out, some of the people I know in the industry, then they want to reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why you have to wait for me to do something with this person? Now, I mean, I could say his name, but I just choose not to. You know who I'm talking about. But
yeah,
it's like, yo, man, like, you can't even do my podcast until you find out who I know. Like, I just feel like, and this is not, I'm not trying to say LA is all negative. It's not. There's a lot of good things about it. The weather for sure. But I think if you want to move here, and I'm an extroverted guy, but I also have my introverted moments most of the time.
Yeah.
So I have no problem switching those two. But if you move here and expect to be, having tons of friends, unless you live in a certain area and you find those good people, a lot of times you're gonna be by yourself. I've lived there for a full year, and besides my coworkers and my roommates, like, I could count on my fingers less than 5 people I know that I can hang out with. But in New York, I know whenever time I'm going back is a big old party. I could have all the fun in the world, and and that's the part, man. I realized it's like over the pandemic when I went to New York, it was so much fun. Like, just walking down the street, seeing mad people outside, the people busting open the fire hydrants and all that stuff. And then, like, coming back here, it's a different shift. Like, I'm stuck in the house all the time. Everybody that I try to connect with always flaking at the last minute. And it's like, that's the biggest drawback for me is like that culture of I'm only gonna help you if you can help me get to where I need to be. And like,
Well,
yeah,
to be
man,
honest with you, it's like that for me in my own hometown, and I've come to the point where, like I said, I'm so jaded. I'm fine with it because you can't bring everybody with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't. So that's why I feel like if anybody's prepared for like a life of smoke and mirrors, it's me. Just because of the fact that you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm used to that because there's really just very, very few people, creatively I can, depend on or call on because anybody that I try to just, include in my plays, like, a basketball turn, like when I try to run a play, they're a no-show, or they do some, like you seen, what was it? Was it game one? It was Cleveland versus Golden State. And then J.R. Smith, he didn't know the score. So then
I remember that.
Out instead of trying to shoot it or passing it to LeBron. I've had a lot of people that I thought would be good for things like that do that same type of shit. And then like me feeling like LeBron, where it's like, dude, you knew the play and you still screwed up anyway. Like you knew the game, you knew the score, you knew everything, but yet you just still screwed up. So right. I got to be like LeBron and leave. Period.
Yeah, it's one thing, and this is more for the entrepreneurs, the people who are pursuing a career in entertainment and stuff like that. You have to learn how to separate. Unfortunately, you have to learn to separate business from friendships. And this is why now I understand why certain celebrities, they kind of leave their hometown and don't bring a lot of their friends and stuff with them.
They don't come back.
You notice like the leeches of the group. Like there's some people in it that really help you succeed and want to work with you. And then there's some people who just in it for the thrill of, oh, maybe one day I get to be in the starry lights and, people want to take pictures of me. And like, I've learned that the hard way. And unfortunately for me, I've experienced that attitude more being in LA than I have in New York. Because like I said, like in New York, people don't care. Like, yeah, if you see like Chris Hemsworth walking down the street, you might stop and try to get a picture. But for the most part, like Keanu Reeves is known to taking a train. The Sprouse twins from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, when they went to NYU, they would always take the trains, and like people didn't care. They was like, I gotta go to work, I gotta do my thing.
Yeah, they got somewhere to go.
You know what I'm saying? But like out here, it's like everybody feels like the only time I want to be friends with you is if you could give me better opportunities in life. And like I just hate that attitude where it's like, yo, why we can't just be friends and collab? You know what I'm saying? Because one of the beautiful things about LA is that a lot of people are freelancers. They love collabing. And, I know someone like Kirby, your good friend who's a photographer, he would thrive here because a lot of people want pictures for their Instagram and for their catalog. So that would be a good market. So, but it sucks. Like,
see, I was going to say that I feel like I'm the realest dude that I know. And before the pandemic, before, the podcast and everything, right? Every time you used to post something on Instagram, you didn't even have to ask me to share it. Like I used to share you had a short film, right?
Right.
And then I used to put it on my story and then like tag your name in there. And I used to do that to the point where like people would know who you were because I would post you from time to time, which was pretty much and you would post often, right?
Right.
How many people do you know do things like that without you even having to ask them to do that?
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like the subculture of being an actor, being a creative or an entrepreneur, it would be so much more, like better or beneficial for everybody, all parties involved, if people took after me. And it's not even me tooting my own horn, but that's just my mindset of trying to be like the friend or an asset that I would like to have.
Right.
So
right.
You give off the energy that you would like to, receive in return. Because again, I used to tell you all the time, like, yo, when I see you making moves, it motivates me to do what I want to do even more. Because when you were doing that 2018, 2019, this year, I couldn't look to my own circle for that kind of inspiration. So I was looking at you like, all right, cool. Let me try to, you know what I mean? Like, let me get fired up. So every time you do that, let me show support and then let me get on my grind. You know what I mean? Not everybody's like that. And it's very unfortunate. You know what I mean? Where like it's like my expectations for people are like the bar, like sad to say, is like very low.
Yeah.
Where it's like I don't even really expect friendship out of people. Like I even say that I don't have like a friendship in mind when I meet somebody. It's kind of like, oh, what's up, man? Okay, cool. And then like that's that. You know, if let's say, you know, where like I met you and you know things kind of, you know, worked out the way they worked out, then great. You know, but more often than not, it doesn't work out like that. Do you remember he was the other guy. He was the other black kid from She's Gotta Have It. He was the kid with the beard.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you remember we talked about boxing and you know the boxing network, DAZN, right?
Right.
With Canelo Alvarez, you know, Triple G, all these guys are fighting on there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just quick story because I don't want to say too much. So last year around this time, I say September, so like late August, September. I'm every time there's a boxing match, I'm always in the comments and I'm always, you know, like debating boxing with people. And that caught the attention of a producer that works for DAZN. So basically she hits me up and she says, hey, you know, I basically want to shoot like a publicity stunt with you at Triple G's gym to kind of use that as like a stimulus to get a certain fight to happen. So they were going to have me, you know, come to one of the, what's that shit called? One of it, like his gym to heckle him pretty much. And they were,
okay.
and they said, and they were like, oh, you know, can you have, what'd she say? She said, can you have, do you have one of your friends available? Now, mind you, this was gonna be out in the city. So I was like, let me hit up, you know, an actor that, well, first I try to, you know, have one of my friends do it. Obviously, you know, only my cousin was available, or I was only in contact with my cousin. So, but he had work. So I said, okay, what about any of my actor friends? Because she was looking for actors. So then I thought about you, but you had already moved to LA.
Right.
So then I hit up, you know, the other guy from the She's Gotta Have It thing. And then he appreciated the fact that I even thought of him. Because because any other person would have just tried to grab somebody that they know is not an actor or wouldn't have made, you know, enough of an impression. I don't think like that. You know, I think of, you know, how can we boost each other up? Because I can't help but feel like it was like that back in the 90s where, you know, I listened to, you know, Sam Jackson interview and then he's saying how, you know, Lawrence Fishburne, Wesley Snipes, Spike Lee, Denzel, they all knew each other coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're all from, you know, the Northeast. They all knew each other. And it seemed from what I've heard from them, like Eric LaSalle, you know, all of them, that they used to boost each other up. So I said, well, let me try to just, you know, replicate that. And I said, hey, man, you know, anytime. Because mind you, if you were still out here, I would have just hit you up to do that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, I'm one of the most talented actors you know. Nah.
No, but it's really because, you know, me, these days, it's like life, or I say, you know, most of my 20s so far has forced me to really take a good look at somebody's character and give it time. Because
Right.
you can't tell me that, oh, I'm a cool dude, or I got your back, or, you know, I want to see you succeed. You can't tell me that. Time will tell that. Situations will tell me that. So the fact that every time we've collabed, you've come through. Even today, like I had something that I wanted to do and it was short notice, but hey, you were free, boom, bam. Other people, it's like I would have to call them, you know, multiple times and then it would just never happen. And I would just have to scrap the idea because, you know, the idea would get old. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And it's very unfortunate that, you know, people like you and I are very like hard to come by. And I'm fine, like I said, because, you know, when you're a lone wolf or when you're, you know what I'm saying, like a Sigma, you by yourself, that forces you to grow because you don't have that leg up. So you have to cultivate that strength within yourself to get up because there's not going to be anyone else there to, you know, to pick you up. I tag my boys in this thing where LeBron, I think it was when he just started playing for the Lakers, I think he was still in Cleveland. And then he said, and to me, I thought of this in terms of life in general. He said, yo, when a basketball player, he falls down, he gets fouled, one of his teammates come up and then they help him up, right?
Right.
So LeBron said, yo, when you fall down, stay down. Your brother will come pick you up. When I fall down, no one's there. So every time I fall down, I have to get up. I can't rely on somebody else to get me up, because there's no one there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like these times, like especially the pandemic, and then like you really are to yourself, you're in the crib, a lot. They just now opened up the gyms. But I had all this time by myself. No one was there. I had to be motivated all by myself. And then like you, when we would have these talks and, work on the podcast, do your podcast, and just have, just stay in touch with each other. It's just you, bro. And then like Kirby, and then maybe like one other person that honestly I can't even think of, which probably doesn't exist.
Right. Man, look, it's crazy. I've realized, like, it's unfortunate, but some of the biggest supporters and people that will help you out, unless you're into, like, music, are usually people who aren't pursuing a career in the business. Like, there's only a few cases where, when I did Jubilee, for instance, that was one of my biggest achievements this year, was working with them. And there was one of the ladies that I did the show with. She has constantly been a big supporter of me, and she's been doing this for like 30 years, give or take. And she's an older woman, but like there was times where like she would hit me up and say, "Hey, there's a casting director who's looking for someone that fits your type, and I passed him your information, so if he's interested, he could reach out to you." And just that thought, like, I haven't encountered that anywhere in LA. Like, people, a lot of actors and people who trying to pursue that entertainment career, a lot of times they're not really trying to help you out. They're just trying to get ahead of you. And it's sad that, like, for someone like me, I'm a very giving guy. You know what I'm saying? We from New York. So you see that work ethic, like, I'm all about helping you. You know what I'm saying? If I know opportunity that I can do, especially, or just, something I feel like I'm not right for, I'll say, "Yo, man, you interested? I can pass you on to this person." And I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
But it seems like, unless you're doing rapping or singing or you're in the music industry here in LA, most people ain't trying to help you out. You kind of have to leave you leave it up to yourself. And that's the beauty of it. And this is why I don't want to overgeneralize LA. But I think moving here has helped me become a better person myself and become a businessman. Because I don't know if I would have moved here if I would have this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I also know that, unfortunately, since I started it, that I have not had one person in LA who's hit me up or I've reached out to join the podcast actually come through with it. There's always been people from New York. You, my buddy Don, people who's been following this journey so far have recognized the recurring guests, because every time I want to record something, people are unavailable. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah. When you see them on Instagram doing something, it's just like.
It is what it is.
Yeah, man.
It is what it is. And what's funny, the same thing happened to me when I first started, planning my podcast and really trying to get it started. They would flake all the time. Like, all right, let's do it. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. comes around, no show. Then I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then these guys are sending me these super emotional texts, like paragraph texts, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man." I'm like, yo, don't send me no super emotional text, bro. Like, you could just say, "Hey, my bad, I missed it. I'll be there for the next one or something." But don't send me no long paragraph, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're in a relationship or something like that, and then flop again anyway. Like, I cannot rely on that. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You just can't. Like, I'm just not going to waste time, because if it's like, hey, if I can't, do it with you, I'll just do it myself. If you can't rely on other people, you got to get it done. Because other people, they won't care if you will never do your podcast. So, like, let's say that one person that flopped on you, they won't care if you don't do it. They don't care. They'll be like, "Oh, bro, I never did the podcast." They'll be like, "Oh, damn, that's wild." That's all they're going to say to you. That is all they're going to say. Like, it's a dog-eat-dog world out here. Don't nobody care but you. If you don't do it, nobody else going to do it. I'm actually quoting Soulja Boy with that. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, man. It's, the crazy part is, like, I remember when I first started this podcast, like, a couple months ago, like, I was like, you know what? I really want to take this idea. And I love giving back. You know what I'm saying? Even when I break into the business and I become a, Hollywood name, I'm still going to invite people who aren't famous or anything, because I realized, like, I think that's the problem with our society is that a lot of people ain't trying to help you build. They just want to build themselves up. And so when I first started this podcast, I was inviting a lot of people. Yo, man, I know you had this idea, or you have this perspective that you want to share. Yo, let me bring you on the show. Like people, nah, I can't do it, and I try to reschedule them. Nah, I can't make it. All right, cool. And then when I did the one, when I did the podcast with I'll break it to you, my buddy,
yeah.
the Netflix star Odie. When I did that one, that's when everybody was, oh man, yo, can I go on the show, man? I would love to work with you and meet him. And it's like,
get out of here.
Yo, why I had to do a podcast with him for you to finally reach out to me? And
get out of here.
And unfortunately, and I said this earlier, but like if you're in this business, whether you're an actor, model, or something, sometimes you have to learn how to separate business from friends. Like there's some people I'm good friends with, but I never know. I'll know that I can never invite them on the show because they won't be reliable. And it's unfortunate because you want to help them, but you can't bring certain people along. And now that I'm starting to experience that growth in my career where it's like, okay, I can, start inviting people and, start building my stuff up. Unfortunately, some people have to get left behind, and now I understand why the Jay-Z's of the world and, other people kind of forget about, I won't say forget. They just realize they can't bring up everybody that they want to because
it is what it be. That's one thing I always just say. It is what it be sometimes, and hey, I'm fine with it. Like I'm absolutely fine with that.
Right, man.
I do not care.
Man, it's like, because
people are ruthless. They don't care. And then the thing is, people will, to quote, the last podcast, people will support you not doing anything. Like I just can't help but remember what, Kirby said. People will support you not doing anything with yourself or doing what they're comfortable with you doing, which is nothing or less than what they're doing. And I will never understand that. But unfortunately, that is human nature. That is life. And then, like a boxing ring, what are you going to do? If things aren't going your way in the ring, you got to adjust, make an adjustment. That's it. And, I made that adjustment a while ago.
Yeah, man, you have to, especially this business. I mean, it's a hard business to maneuver. And, you have to, and I get it why some people can't, end up flaking. Because, like, I know for me now, especially now that I have an agent, I never know when I'm getting audition. Like last night, I was sleeping and I woke up and I got a notification I had to do a self-tape audition by midnight. Right. And so I was able to do it. So I understand why people do that, but it's like, yo, I don't even want to make this just an LA thing, but it's just in LA for some reason. It's just that flaky culture that just like, oh, it's brutal, man. And I see why a lot of people want to leave, and a lot of YouTubers, for instance, some people that I found and I watched over the pandemic, a lot of them moved. A lot of them don't like the culture, and these are people that make money off of YouTube and collaborate. Having people on their show to make the videos that they do, but a lot of them move because they don't like that toxic culture where. I know there was one girl I was watching. She has like 2 million subscribers, and her videos get millions of views for each of them. So she makes good money, and she ended up moving to New York. But one of the things she said was like, she started realizing that once her YouTube started blowing up, that's when those people that she always tried to reach out to in the beginner stages started reaching out to her. And then that's
why you change your telephone number.
Yeah, and some of her friends became more interested in being on her videos than being her friend.
Change your telephone number. Just change your telephone number, move, and then become inaccessible. What other celebrities do? Because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure people that Will Smith grew up with once he became the Fresh Prince, they didn't know how to get in contact with him. It's the same principle.
Yeah.
Me personally, I have no issue with changing my telephone number because again, that list of people, when I make something of myself, that list of people is really, really short. Like it's not a long list of people at all. It was lonely at the bottom. So it'll be lonely at the top. That's okay because it was lonely down here.
Yeah, man. Another thing I wanted to mention and this is not a big thing for me, but if you're into politics, I've noticed LA is a predominantly Democrat, um, uh, culture. And I remember I had this conversation with my buddy's dad, Don. He's been on the show, and before I moved there, I've always been a troll. Obviously, some of my episodes I've trolled politics, stuff like that. But one thing he told me was like, when you go out there, you have to change some of the things that you talk about, and it's mostly politics, because I noticed if anybody, like, if I make a joke that, oh, I support Trump and stuff like that, like, people turn on you instantly. And this is not even just Hollywood. This is just like the negative toxic culture. I remember I got in an argument with this girl on Facebook, which everybody know, if you want to get in arguments and troll people, you got to go to Facebook or Twitter. But it was like a housing post. It wasn't even anything significant. But this dude, he mentioned that he wanted to move to LA. He lived in like San Francisco, but he was a Republican. And like the comments were ruthless. Like, he didn't even mention whether he supports the wall or anything. He just said, I'm a Trump supporter, right? And like these comments are ruthless. It was like, don't move to LA. We hate Republicans because y'all all racist and homophobic and transphobic. And I'm like, yo, what? Like, I don't even know the dude, and y'all attacking him like this. And I got an argument with a girl. It's like, yo, like, why? Like, you don't even know this guy's character. He could be the nicest dude in the world. Like, some of my friends from especially Long Island, they're Republicans, but they're the nicest people in the world. Like, my buddy Don, his family welcomed me into their family with open arms. I used to go to their family barbecues and meet and greets, and they send me presents for Christmas stuff. And they Trump supporters, and I'm a black dude, and that's not an issue. But it seems like here, for some reason, like the moment you say anything regarding Trump or being a Republican, like people want to chop your head off, and it's like, yo, like, where's the open-mindedness at? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, and society these days doesn't encourage free thought or free thinkers. We live in a conformist society where everybody conforms to collective thought. So therefore, you'll notice that a lot of celebrities, like, yeah, they'll imply who they're voting for, but most of them, they're not out there really, talking about their political views like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know who I don't know. I can't think of celebrity, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's not the majority of celebrities, they're not very open about their political views and who they're actually going to vote for. Now, obviously, these days, the majority of them that are vocal about it are really anti-Trump. But the only celebrity that I could think of, well, he's not really a celebrity, but he's a boxer, is Adrian Broner. He was on the Breakfast Club like 2 years ago, and he was saying that, oh, I'm voting Trump because Trump is good he's for the rich people. He's the only one, and that's because he don't care. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, people don't really give a crap about what Adrian Broner thinks politically, but you get what I'm saying.
Right,
a lot of people can just come out and say, oh, Biden, Kamala Harris, and then freaking go to the ballot and vote Trump because Trump, tax cuts and, whatever benefits them. So, and most people who are, political, well, I don't say political figures, but public figures who are entertainers, actors, in my opinion, and I know this to be true, I feel like I'm quoting Wesley Snipes, but I don't know who this was. But anyway, somebody did say that not everything has to be on Front Street, and that goes quadruple for famous people. Because a lot of things that, like, you and I can just say, no one cares because no one really cares about us anyway. No one knows who we are.
Whoa, speak for yourself, homie.
Well, there's very little consequences. There's very little consequences to the things that you and I say because, again, we're not public figures. Obviously, we could have people that we know that may be less appreciative to our views. But let's say when you're famous, those same views that you may have had when you weren't famous are going to be under a magnifying glass, and you're going to be scrutinized and scorned for views that everybody else has, but they don't like you having it because you're famous, people know you, you're supposed to think like everybody else.
Right.
The thing is, I don't think I can care less to think about everybody. And there's that little pressure too. We talked about that where most people will want you to be, to work a 9 to 5. So there's still that pressure to be like everybody else, which I can't stand that, but that's really where it comes from.
Man, speak for yourself. My people know my feed pictures. You know, I'm a celebrity on
This
OnlyFans. You
guy,
know what I'm saying?
this guy in feet pictures. Let me tell you, I this might have been like the third time we collab, and he's mentioned feet pictures. I mean, I don't
Hey
know.
man, I gotta pay bills, man. Life ain't,
Got
rent
hey,
ain't cheap. Nah,
we talked about this. Like I said, you got bills to pay. Do what you got to do.
nah, at least speaking of which, my OnlyFans is gonna be linked in the description. Not because I don't have one, but no. But anyway, you mentioned celebrity, so I want to get into the juicy stuff. We actually just recorded something for your podcast about this. Marques Houston, baby. If you don't know Marques Houston, let me give you a little backstory. He was in
Go
B2.
home, Roger.
He was sister Roger. He's also known for You Got Served, which is a childhood classic. So if you haven't watched You Got Served, something's wrong with you. But he just made the news. Apparently, people are getting upset with him marrying a 19-year-old girl. And Marques Houston is roughly 37, 38. So I want to get your opinions on that. And I know we talked about it in your podcast, but I want you to open up your 2 cents about it. What do you think? Is that a problem? Do you think he should be on a stake like R. Kelly?
Okay. Now, I don't think if I was 39 years old, which I didn't even know Marques Houston was 39 years old. Black don't crack. So clearly he looks like he just turned 30, but he's 39 years old. But anyway, me in the future at 39 years old of age, I am not going to be seeking out 18 or 19-year-old girls. Now, because I prefer a Nia Long or a Sherry Headley or, a Carrie Hilson or, you know what I'm saying? One of those. But I will say that if you are going to judge Marques Houston's taste for younger women, please do the same thing for Leonardo DiCaprio and other public figures like him, who, if you go on who'sdatedwho.com, where you could look at celebrities and who, like, their romantic history and how old they were at the start of that particular relationship, the majority of the women that he has dated are 18 and 19 years old. And no one has ever said anything about him. So if you're gonna come after the black guy, I can make this about race, because you look at everything that's going on. I have license to make this about race. If you're gonna get on the black man's case, get on the white guy for doing the same freaking thing.
Right, man. Look, I watched the interview with Michael B. Jordan, and one of the things he's always gets criticized is apparently people see pictures of him. TMZ takes pictures of him on boats with white women, and people always complain about it. And it's like, yo, it's a double standard. And I hate to make this about race, but I remember when Serena Williams, when she married her current husband, who is white, people was like, yes, go get your money, queen. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah, right.
And then, like, when Michael B. Jordan see you with a white girl, he's a sellout, he's a coon, he's all this and that.
I take twice as issue with, and this might just be my controversial opinion, but then again, I've said this to black women to their face, that I will never like when a black woman dates a white guy. I will never like that, unless maybe I know that white guy personally. But aside from that, I don't support that. Black men, yeah, we can have their women, sure. We can
hold on. I know. All right, so let me ask you, because I know people are probably gonna listen to that and be like, "Word." So why do you feel that way?
I just don't like it. The same reason why people don't like Doja Cat. Like, all right, okay, so you know about Doja Cat. She was in some racist, freaking deep, dark web internet. I didn't even know they had those things. The chat room with like racist white guys with like Confederate flags in the background, like nigga boy, and then she's like showing her feet and her fat ass forehead, and then like denouncing her blackness to them. To me, it's kind of like you're really doing the same thing. In my opinion, I just don't like it. That's just my personal views, my personal preference. There's nothing that anybody can ever say in life to make me support that. Me personally, I like white women, sure, but I'm really probably going to spend the rest of my life with a black woman if I had my choice. So, I'm not a hypocrite either. So a black woman can't listen to this and say, "Oh, well, you date white women." Actually, no, I don't. I actually have it in my lifetime. I would, but I have not. But if you're a black woman, you're listening to this, and you want to date, a Al Gore looking dude, or Donald Trump's son looking dude, or some Machine Gun Kelly looking guy, you're reenacting Django, in my opinion.
Right.
You're reenacting Django. You feel me? This isn't 12 Years a Slave. Go get a black guy. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'd rather be radical than to be a nonchalant drone that has the same opinion as everybody else.
Right. Look, I guess
I'll watch Django if I want to see that. I'll watch Django if I want to see that shit. Nope. Sorry. Except what's his name? Except for, see, the exception, and this is only in the movie, the exception would be John Turturro in Jungle Fever when he dates a black woman, the black woman that comes to his store every day after, Annabella Sciorra cheats on him with Wesley Snipes. That's the only exception where I looked at that and I said, you know what? His character's an all right guy. That's okay. So there are some exceptions. But for the majority, no.
Yeah, look, man, I personally, like I said, I'm in the middle ground. So I know people might look at this and be like, oh, he hates white people and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into it.
I don't.
But
I do not. I just have my, and to say that these days that doesn't come into other people's minds is an absolute farce, because it's true. If I was in a serious relationship with a white woman, there would be that apprehension if whether or not her family would accept me or not because I'm black, especially in 2020. You seen Get Out. You seen Get Out. Like, I mean, okay, you want watch Get Out and then come try to talk to me. Watch Get Out. Watch Get Out a couple of times. Don't just watch it once. Watch it, may I say, twice, 2 to 3 times. And then really not even where shit hits the fan, but like the first part. Because all of that, art imitates life. Where do you think that they get these things from? And I think Jordan Peele is married to a white woman, and he wrote that movie. So does he hate white people too? No.
Right.
I guess, exactly. I have a rebuttal to every single thing that somebody could say to me about that. Because right or wrong, yeah, Jordan Peele, he wrote Get Out. So does that mean he hates white people? No, it don't mean that.
See, this is why I like this, because it's getting controversial. This is my stuff. But for me personally,
I'm a controversial guy.
Yeah.
Anybody, I don't have a filter.
See, I personally, and this goes back to Marques Houston, I don't care because, one, it's not my life. Two, I like the diversity. I don't mind. Like, I have no problem with it. My problem is the double standard that go with it. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of cases of, black women dating, white guys. And, I'm talking about celebrities because these are the people that, people care about the most.
Right.
But then when you see someone like Morris Chestnut, or you'll see another black actor or rapper dating a white girl, he's a sellout, he's not for the black people and this and that. And that's my only issue is, like, why do we pick and choose which one is right and wrong? You know what I'm saying? I think if you're going to say it's all right for black women to date white guys, then hey, if black guys want to date white people, that's completely fine with me. And not to get off topic, but for Marques Houston, for instance, my problem is this. And I don't want to make this too much of a race thing for me, but I noticed Quicksilver from X-Men, I told you about this, but for people who don't know, his name is Aaron Johnson. He married his wife. He was about, if I'm not mistaken, he was around 23, and she was about 47 when they got married. And this was like years ago. But there was no outrage about this. This was like, all right, you know what? He likes older women. That's fine. Go do what you got to do. And she's twice his age. Right. But Marques Houston, and maybe it's probably because she's close to the illegal age. That could be the case. But why is it a problem for him to marry a 19-year-old girl? If she wants to marry him and that's her thing, so be it. Because I knew growing up, especially in New York, a lot of girls like older men because they have job security, they got money, and that's what they want. Some people want that security, and that's fine. But why drag him through the mud about this? Like, as long as he's not doing R. Kelly's and slipping pills in people's drinks like Bill Cosby.
Right.
Hey man, if he likes young women and she's all into it, But I mean, she's a consenting adult. It's 2020. Feminists say women should have their equal rights and they have they should have their own say in life. And I completely agree. But why are people dragging her and him for this? You know what I'm saying? She's a consenting adult. She can make her own decisions. And it seems like because she made her decision to be with an older guy, oh, he's a pedophile. She's a gold digger. And it's like, what? I don't get the problem. I personally just don't understand why this is blowing up on TMZ. I get, yeah, he's married now. We haven't heard from Marques Houston in a while.
Right.
But like, it's all been like the derogatory stuff. It hasn't been anything supportive. And I get her backstory. Apparently, she ran away when she was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And whatever. Hey, that's not my place to judge. But look, she's consenting. She said yes. He proposed. They got married. End of story. I don't get why people causing an outrage. You know what I'm saying? I think there's more important things to talk about. You know, we get there's people getting shot up in the street for doing nothing. You got police brutality, but you know, people taking hours out of the day to complain about Marques Houston marrying a 19-year-old girl. It's like, my God, like, can we get back on subject here? Can we go back to the protests and stuff like that? Like, that's my problem with this whole thing. It's just like, and I know Tiger was a recent example, him and Kylie Jenner. Mm-hmm. Tiger, I'm not going to judge him, but I did hear, especially from, the Kardashian side, was that he met her when she was like 15 to 16 and then waited. He was
redshirting her.
And whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to say it is or not because, it is, hey, but he didn't do anything with her until she turned 18. And he was like, 25? So, look, some girls are just into that. And he waited till she was legal for her to make her own decision. And so be it. I just don't understand why there's such a double standard with this. It's like, if a young girl wants to date an older guy, they say go get your money. But when a guy wants to date a younger girl, it's a problem.
It's nasty.
And you know what the crazy part is? We didn't grow up in the Hugh Hefner era. But I knew in like middle school, in my high school, I knew about this dude. He was like 80 years old. He was a playboy. And this dude was having girls 20. I'm sure some of them were like 19. And, just a bunch of younger women in his house. And nobody complained. Yeah. And it's like nobody complaining about that. People look at man. I'm like, yo, man.
I honestly, like, because you just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is. There's no other explanation other than it's like sexist and like, a bit, not racist isn't the right word, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just they get a pass and then, we don't for whatever reason.
Yeah, man. It's,
yeah, because look at Samuel Jackson. I bet you people say he's nasty, for doing if he were to do the same thing. But mind you, he's been with his wife for like 45 years. Denzel Washington, he had an interview where he said, "I would never leave my wife. Like if we ever got a divorce, it'd be because she left me." And then they've been together for probably just as long as Sam's been with his wife.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the only time I feel like people haven't really said anything about that is because Margot Robbie, when she did Focus, her and Will Smith were rumored to have a little thing, and she was actually pretty young back in 2012, 2013, whenever it was that they shot the movie. I forgot when that movie came out. I think around that, like I said, 2012, 2013. And, people didn't say anything about that, but, obviously because Will Smith was married. So that was just, conjecture and, rumors and all that stuff. But it's not fair, but like I said, it is what it be sometimes. You just got to shrug it off.
Right, man. It might be, there's problems with it, but I think we having a little entanglement on our hands. Wink, wink. I wasn't going to talk about it, but since you mentioned Will Smith, I actually want to address that. Like, okay. What do you think about that whole thing with him and Jada Smith and August Alsina?
I actually do have another podcast that you can actually check that out on YouTube.
Hold on, wait, hold on. You believe this guy? He's plugging this stuff on my pipe. Like, what is this? No, I'm joking. Yeah,
just put it on my tab.
$5,000, bro.
Yeah, man, put it on my tab. But, for me, I think it really, first of all, that whole thing happened years ago. That happened. We're talking about 2016. This happened. So that's 4 years ago. All right. And they were past it. The only reason why this was news was because August Alsina said that, and people were already had their eyes on Will and Jada's, relationship. So people couldn't wait to get any bit of ammunition that they can get on them to take that and run with it. My thing is, hey, they got past it already. That whole red table talk obviously was just for them to address it. Do I think Jada Pinkett Smith is, out of pocket? Yeah. You know what I mean? Obviously me, I'm Mr. Will Smith. You watch any of my videos, my podcast, you see I got a Will Smith post on the back. No Will Smith slander will be tolerated here. At the end of the day, I think August Alsina is whack. I think he's an idiot. I think, the dude kisses and tells, because regardless, if you're in that situation anyway, you're not supposed to tell anybody. All right, you and Jada, y'all had a little entanglement. That's what she called it, okay? They had a relationship, which is what Will Smith told her to say, which is true. They had a relationship while Will Smith was out doing his thing. People got to realize that. Will Smith is Will freaking Smith. He was doing his thing too. And then he told at the end, he's like, hey, I'm going to get you back for that. Look on Jada Pinkett's Instagram. She ain't been on there since. She hasn't been on social media since then. So she's on ice. All right? This wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for punk-ass August Alsina. And then the thing is, the only reason why this even really happened in the first place was because Jaden Smith introduced August to them. Because Jaden Smith is a rapper. He's a pretty good rapper. I like him. And, obviously you in the industry, you meet people and stuff like that. And then he brought him home to them. So I blame Jaden, because you should have known before you brought him home to them.
Right. I mean, look, August Alsina, I get it. Yeah, he should have. Yeah, I know people were dogging him. They calling him simps, and I know that a lot of news
media. Actually, when I didn't see that, the worst thing that I seen people say about him was the fact that, he was in love with Jada. I mean, like, I personally don't find Jada Pinkett Smith sexually attractive at all, only because I just have so much respect for Will Smith that I can't even – she's just completely desexualized. Like, I don't find Janet Jackson, like, attractive because I like Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Right. But let's say if, I don't know, Nia Long has a break with her and her husband, I'm famous, I get with her, and we have our thing for a few years, and unfortunately – if it ran its course, like if Nia Long left me, you know who Nia Long is, right?
Yeah, of course.
She's bad.
His mama, yeah.
Yeah, she's freaking gorgeous. I'd be heartbroken too. If we had our thing and then like she went back home to him, yeah, I'd be upset. But that was my thing that I had with Nia Long. I'm not going to Angela Yee sitting on her couch to say, yeah, I had a thing with Nia Long. I mean, nobody would know unless like freaking if I didn't say anything. If I had an entanglement with Nia Long, I would never say anything. Nobody would know, because all that's gonna do if I say something, I just burn the bridge.
Right.
Because if she leaves her husband and then like we have a good thing together, it's a revolving door. So then the opportunity is still there. So he pretty much ruined it for. If you really were in love with her, you ruined it for yourself. You wouldn't catch me doing that. No way.
Yeah, man. I think. All right, August. Yeah. Well, let's keep this PG. All right, let's keep our pants up here.
What are you feet pictures? How many feet pictures you talked about? You want to talk about keeping your pants on? Get out of here, bro.
Hey, man, I'm a comedian that sits down, so I can do that. I could. But look, here's the thing. I think the problem wasn't so much that situation. I think a lot of people's problem with it was that people felt like if it was Will Smith that stepped out, oh my God,
it would have been over.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Over.
And I already know that probably would have been the case, because people were like, they was on a breakup. She could have done whatever she want. But when Will Smith said, "I'm gonna get you back," people, he a dog. Men are trash, and why he gotta do that?
I didn't see that.
No, if you go in the comments for the Red Talk, you'll see that. And like we already know, like a lot of people has always speculated that they've been swingers. I'm not going to get into all that because I don't care about
Yeah.
other people's relationships. But I think August Alsina shouldn't have said anything, and he did a song about it with Rick Ross. I think it was called
Corny.
it. I think
Yeah, it was called
Entanglement.
Entanglements, asshole. He's the biggest asshole. August Alsina is an asshole. And then, first of all, why is your first name August? You weren't even born in August. You were born in September. Get out of here. Like, to me, he's the biggest cornball. And then on top of it, I think when he was sitting there, he had like orange, purple, and yellow hair. And you're black with glasses on. Come on, man.
Hey, he's a musician. Look at Chris Brown.
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. The guy 6'9" is a quote unquote. He's not a musician. He's a rapper. And freaking dude has rainbow hair. And then he's the biggest troll ever. Because if it's my assumption, you got all that money in the bank, find another one. You didn't have to go out there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, real quick. Look at Chris Brown. Him and Karrueche broke up, right?
Yeah.
Look at his baby mama right now. She look just like Karrueche. She look just like her. You can find another one that look just like her because you're rich, you're famous, you can afford that. So what? You know what I mean? Why do you care? Get over it. Now, but then again, to him, Jada Pinkett Smith might be Nia Long to me. So if that's the case, and if he looks at her like that, then he'll get maybe a 0.5% leeway. Not even 1%, a 0.5%, because I can understand that much. But other than that, the other 99.9%, you're an asshole.
I think it could have been, he fell in love. You know what I'm saying? Everybody looking for that happy ending.
Yo, I can't stress how much I love Nia Long. You know what? I'm probably gonna clip this and post this on on YouTube, and then have Nia Long tagged on there. And then maybe that one day she might just happen to be in that section of YouTube, and she happens to come across this video. And then, hey, Nia Long, you listen to holla at your boy. But if I had an entanglement with Nia goddamn Long, and then she's probably around the same age as Jada Pinkett Smith, I would fall in love too, and I probably would never get over it.
No, even if I
did replace her, I wouldn't get over it.
Little side note, I don't know this dude. He's a stalker, maybe. I don't know. I don't want no attachment. Keep listening. I don't know this dude. He just jumped on the show.
Hey, brother, I'm controversial too. God damn it.
I don't know, man. You kind of borderline stalking for some of these.
No, it ain't stalking. Do you know what Nia Long looks like? And so is J. Cole a stalker because he said his only regret was being too young for Nia Long? Damn, because she's just that bad. There ain't no goddamn stalker, bruh.
My sponsor hit me up right now talking about they don't want to sponsor me no more. Good riddance, man. Good riddance. Nah, let me stop.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, you know what, man? I know
it's give or take. It's give and take. But at the end of the day, like I said, the only rationale is if he really fell in love with her and he couldn't get over it, and that was his way of getting back at her for going back to Will. At the end of the day, he's Will Smith. You're just August Alsina. Not even that. He did it for album sales because he had an album coming out. It wasn't even that. I forgot. He wasn't in love. He just needed a buzz. He needed publicity. And when you're a public figure, sometimes, bad publicity is still good publicity. So, you know what I mean? I don't know what his sales figures was looking like. I mean, I don't care. But, you know what I mean? That's why he did it. I forgot.
I mean, it could be because I know, I mean, I'll be lying if I said August Alsina is my favorite musician of all time. But I have looked at his when he did that video, that song with Rick Ross, the Entanglement song. When I looked at the views to that compared to his other songs, it could be just I need something to promote my album. And
that's what it was.
Because
that's what it was.
Man, look, all I know is people need to learn how to mind their business and keep their mouth shut. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because and that's another thing. Everything that Will and Jada and August went through. Everybody who's been in a long-ass term relationship, there has been a point where you and your girl, you and your man, y'all broke up and you were seeing other people, then got back together. That's all it was. You know the difference is they're just famous. And that issue was just put on Front Street. You and I, fortunately, we had the luxury of having our issues with our girls and then them not being on Front Street.
Wait, did you just assume I'm straight? No.
What's with this guy, man? What's with this guy, man? Anyway, like I said, you know what I mean? Like, hey, that happens to everybody. So when people are laughing at Will Smith, like, oh, he's a simp and all that, I'm like, clearly you didn't get it. And then they don't, as they said, they don't have what's known as like a traditional marriage, you know, whatever it is to them. That's their life. Because to me, it has nothing to do with their work and their contribution to society, which is their creative work, really, namely Will Smith's, you know, work, because he's really the main one doing a lot of movies right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Same thing. People get caught up in the nonsense that they forget, like Will Smith, to me, I don't know about you, but to me, he's like one of the best actors ever and really one of the most successful ones, because he's the one who really made that transition from being an artist, first Grammy, by the way, first rapper to ever receive a Grammy, to becoming one of the most successful box office actors ever.
Right.
Let's focus on that, and let's not give a shit about people's, you know, personal life, because again, it's just a hot topic for people to talk about on Twitter, which Will Smith said that. I don't know if you've seen that on the Red Table Talk where he was like, oh, Black Twitter. I was like, man, don't worry about coon Twitter, because the only people who were talking about Will Smith were the coons on Twitter, because last week everybody loved Will. Oh, then this thing happened and everybody's laughing at him like Lil Boozy and 50 Cent. Get out of here.
Man, it just goes to show people will complain about everything. And that's my end of this podcast, man. It's been good. I want to bore the people. You know what I'm saying? Let the people know where your podcast is, just to refresh them.
The MDJ podcast can be found on YouTube. The fastest way to find that is to go to my Instagram at Dimitri Dews JR, and then go to the link in the bio, and the YouTube link is right there. That's the easiest way to find the MDJ podcast. Or go to Instagram.com/MDJ podcast, and then you can actually get the direct link to my YouTube page from there.
And man, yeah, go check it out. We've been doing some really good podcasts on there, man. It's been a good journey so far. This pandemic, I gotta say, just to put it out there, anybody who's complaining about this pandemic, stuck at home, being unemployed, being bored, go out and do something, because you know what? This pandemic has a lot of people, especially like myself, to go out and create a new opportunity for yourself. So, you know, get creative, man. Me and Dimitri has been doing our podcast. How long have you been doing yours for?
I'd say the beginning of summer. So I'd say since June, but I started my YouTube channel back in March. So
that's what I'm saying. I started my podcast in like June, and right now I'm probably on the par of Joe Rogan. You know, some people think I'm DJ Vlad. You know, no, it's not. But yeah, man, this is
he an Oreo, man.
He definitely is. You know, shout out to him. You know, he's another dude I respect. Cause
DJ Vlad?
Yeah, I don't mind him. I know people think he works with the feds, but I think
it's not even that he works for the feds. I just think DJ Vlad has asshole moments.
He do, but that's just his way. I mean, anybody who does some type of hosting or do
because people
you
might
have
think
to.
about me.
You have to. You kind of have to bring the controversial, which is what I like doing, not just because of the views, but I think, and I said this especially in my early stages, I like this controversial angle because it allows people to get an idea of different ideas and perspectives, and
right, yeah.
And I act like as the middle ground. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm on that note, go check out my OnlyFans. My feet pictures are for sale. $100 per photo.
At this point, he mentions feet pictures so much that I don't even think he's lying.
Nah,
I don't even think he's a joke anymore.
Hey, dude, man, there's a market for that. There's a market for that.
You never know, man. It's 2020. Look at how this year's gone, bro. The playoffs. What they? Yeah. Basically, NBA is out of whack. Black people getting shot. Freaking coronavirus, bruh. This year is crazy. So
and few pictures are selling like hotcakes. So you know,
nothing surprises me anymore.
Nah, what I look like? My big hairy toes? Nah, I'll pass.
I feel it, bro.
But anyway, man, thank you again for being on the show. This was very spontaneous and it's always good. And you know, like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you again, Dimitri.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Few pictures for sale. Don't forget.